All right, folks, we have another Health Haven podcast, and today we have bodybuilder, we have model, and most importantly for me, fitness entrepreneur, Cory Gregory. Cory, how you doing, man?
What's up, Elliot? Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
All right, now I found you, man. I found you through social media a couple of years ago, and I remember it clearly because I have 3 kids, and I saw a Fitness RX cover with you on it with your 3 kids. Dude, I thought that was one of the most amazing pics I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, I'm not
honestly,
making that up. I mean, that's in my mind. It stays in my mind. I love that picture.
It was truly one of the greatest things that ever happened in my career. I don't know if anything could ever really beat it because it wasn't planned.
Right.
So that's what was so cool about it. My kids come, I did the photo shoot at my gym at old school. Per Burnell was shooting it. We had the backdrop for the cover set up, and kids literally jumped in. I have it on video. I bet you it was probably 15 clicks, man.
That's
awesome. We did a photo shoot for 8 hours long. There was probably mountains of different cover options, and he called me up like a month later and was like, "Dude, I think we're gonna use one of the ones with the kids." And I was like, "Blackwin's gonna let that roll?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, I just keep coming back to it, and I think we need to do it. So that's awesome. How it happened. And honestly, when I saw the mock, I almost cried. I was so pumped.
I hear you, dude. And I related to it because at that time I was training for an NPC show myself, and I almost mimicked. And I'll one day I'll send you shots. I mimicked that shot with my 3 boys at the gym.
That's cool.
And it was like only because I saw your shot, you made it look cool for a dad to be
Thanks.
ripped and hang out with his kids. And
thanks,
I had
man.
been preaching that myself, and you made it look cool, man. I just wanted to bring that up real fast before we start, man.
That's cool. Well, you know what? It was completely organic.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's why it worked, because it was literally that just hanging on me, trying to get a couple picks. It wasn't planned at all, and that's usually when sometimes the best things happen. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Magic, dude, magic. Now, just going a little further back, I know you come from a hardworking background where you were a coal miner. Is that right?
Yeah, I worked as an underground coal miner for about 6 months, which is, my coal mine was 600 feet under and about 8 miles in, meaning like once you would go under 600 feet, when you would go to like your job site, you could travel up to 7 or 8 miles like sideways underground by rail. It's pretty wild.
Whoa. Now, how did you? Obviously, that has to build that mentality, that discipline of like a 9 to 5, or even later in that. It's not a clock-in type of job, but a hardworking, physical, manual labor type of job. How do you go from that to like co-founding Muscle Farm?
Yeah, so the way I look at coal mining was that's like it's in my DNA. I mean, I'm a 4th generation coal miner, but it stopped with me. I was excited to have an opportunity because the money was really good for my age. It was set up as truly a short-term deal, like to work for a few months, save money, and, go to try to start my gym and go to the 1 year of college that I went to.
Okay.
And honestly, it was a means to an end. And so what I did was, and what I do in all situations when I'm all in, I said, I'm going to work 80, 90 hours a week. I'm going to save every dime. I just lifted weights and worked. I mean, that's literally all I did for 6 months, and I saved about $20,000, and that allowed me to move away and go to, start to live my dream. And what a lot of people don't realize, Elliot, is that, because social media just really came on the scene, 2006, 7, 8.
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't get on it until 9 or 10.
It's a baby.
Yeah, it's a baby still. So, like, for me, a lot of people don't know about me much pre-Muscle Farm because there was no real documentation, and I was just I would classify myself as a good local trainer because I didn't have availability to be really anything more than that because there's no platform, right? So, what I really focused on, and what I tell a lot of the young guys I'm around now, because I have a lot of young guys that are around learning from me. I'm like, look, I had 10 years in the gym training clients personally, working on my craft and programming from 5 in the morning till 8 at night, and then half day Saturday for a decade, building my business, multiple trainers under me. And so like all that testing my body on supplementation. I met Dr. Eric Serrano in 2000, so I've been working with him for pretty much my whole career on learning from one of the best formulators in the marketplace. And so
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of pre-muscle farm, let's call it. That seems like a whole life ago. It really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of that people don't maybe take into account. They think like, oh, boom, I want to be this, that many social media followers, this or that. They don't realize like I had not only the grind as a guy at a sawmill, then into a coal mine, but then as an actual craft as a trainer for decades.
Yeah, and I think that's what struck me about your story when I started reading your bio, that you went from that type of work to like co-founder of Muscle Farm, which, you guys were all over the place. Muscle Farm was like huge with the product.
Huge.
It almost felt like, you're right, like it came out of nowhere and just took over. And that struck me as like, wow, I would love to know, this guy's story. This is, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. After a decade of training,
Okay.
I just always was interested in supplementation. I was always drug free, so I played around with a lot of different supplements, and
Okay.
so I just took a liking to diet and supplementation. And I was a huge fan of Bill Phillips. I mean, Bill Phillips, which later down the road I got a chance to work with him, and I told him straight up, like, I asked for creatine for Christmas when I was 15 from EAS. Like, I'm a meathead to the fullest. And Bill was, because media at that point, look, he had Muscle Media was called. He did Body for Life. He was the guy. Like, Arnold was always obviously like the boss, the GOAT. Frank Zane's who I wanted to look like,
Yep.
or I thought I maybe could look like, because he was more my body type
Absolutely.
out of any of them guys. But Bill Phillips was the business side of it that I aspired to. And so, that's how I was essentially molded by really those three, from the look standpoint, from Arnold's like mindset, which is just amazing. And then you got Bill's business acumen, which, Arnold's a much better business guy than Bill, but it's from a supplementation documented level. Bill at that time, was the only guy that really was on the scene, that was out and doing videos and writing lots of articles and whatnot. So that's really where it came from. I thought to myself, there was a period of time that was kind of no man's land in supplements. I feel like they needed, let's call it the newer version of EAS,
Yep.
the Nike of the space. And that, once I connected with a couple guys, and we had this vision and just went like a bat out of hell to execute it. And look, there's a lot of I learned a ton by building Muscle Farm for 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
But I'm also doing a lot of things different now that I would never redo. So I think that it had a lot of its pluses. Was we everywhere? Did we take over, or at least make a pretty big dent in a saturated space? Oh, hell yeah. Motherfuckers,
you
they
definitely
didn't see us coming.
Yeah, with the branding
Yeah.
and the way you guys
Yeah.
mixed in like UFC and you brought in that trending, you guys knocked it out. Like,
Yep.
it felt like there was a
Yep.
big marketing advertising campaign coming from New York almost with Muscle Farm. It felt that
Yeah,
big.
but it wasn't. It was just us slanging, man. So it was a lot of fun, man. But once again, we were a public company. It got a little dicey with that kind of stuff. I'm not real versed in that world. I mean, I'm a trainer, supplement guy,
Right.
and really I'm in the people business first. I mean, to be honest with you, like,
Right.
that's what I do well, is help and develop people and teach them what I know and what I've learned from 20 years of being in the business.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't fun anymore. And a lot of people think, like, you get to a certain size. Well, just because you get big doesn't mean it's better. And we got big quick, and there's a lot of stress that comes with that. And at the end of the day, I woke up one day and said, you know what? I don't think the Wall Street stuff and the way these guys operate, it's not really my jam. I'd like to return it back to very grassroots, people to people. Wanted to restart, man.
Right.
I mean, straight up, I just wanted to restart, and it was the right thing for me. And here's what it came down to.
Mm-hmm.
I've been an entrepreneur. The last W-2 job I had was when I was a coal miner. I've been on my own for a long time, and this thing, got big, turned into a corporation where, I'm requesting time off, and, just because of systems of being public and Sarbanes and Oxley, and dude, no way. Like, that's not really me at all, not even fucking close. And so I just got to the point where I was like, if I'm staying for a paycheck, obviously I had equity too, but if I'm staying for a paycheck, then I got a problem.
Yeah.
And I walked away, and family members were kind of surprised. Like, you're walking away, like they didn't, like the board of directors didn't tell you to leave. I'm like, no, I said, you know what, it's time for me to do something else. And I don't think they were unhappy about it. I think there were some new directions that, some new heads at the table wanted to take. And I was okay with that because Muscle Farm at that point in time was not what I started. It was something different. And so it allowed me, I had a non-compete for roughly a year. It allowed me to start CoryGFitness.com, which has got current members in over 100 countries. And one of my passions, which is programming, developing people. And I'm over-deliver on the content, in my opinion, and teaching all kinds of great stuff. And it's a freaking blast. It's been very successful. And then when I was able to, I launched Max Effort Muscle with a group of partners. One of the managing partners is John Fosco, who I worked with within the UFC. He was the biggest advertising agent within the UFC. He basically dominated the space. That's who we worked with. We partnered up. I also have Clay Guida, Travis Brown, my buddy Dustin Myers, who owns Old School with me and is the Ohio State strength coach in wrestling, and then Zach Homel, who's an up-and-coming powerlifter. And so we formed like a dream team of content producers and owners, and we're direct to customer. I've turned down every vendor that's came my way. I'm not interested in selling to anybody. I sell one spot on my website directly to the customer, and that's where it's going to be unless something drastically changes. That's my model. And what I'm excited to do is explain and teach when I'm done the retail model of 50,000 doors, what that's like, to multiple 100 million from bottom line and top line. And then the direct model, which is what's called the Dollar Shave Club model, with a different brand, building direct to customer, top and bottom line, ins and outs of it. And so now I really believe once I build this and it's done extremely well out the gate, as I get in this for multiple years, I'll be able to teach effectively any business class on, you might think you'll get this when you do that, but really it's over here. It's really interesting, man.
Well, what you said struck a chord with me is that you stated, and you said it, bigger is not necessarily better, and that means that metaphor strikes home to me a couple of different ways. Bigger in terms of like your career isn't necessarily always better. Bigger in the gym, getting bigger and getting huge and gaining 50 pounds is not necessarily the best thing functionally, not for tensile strength and for longevity. So I think on your path, and it's interesting because you said you went back to your grassroots and you could visually see your transformation on social media. You could see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm me. I'm unfiltered me right now. Yes. You're getting what, and it was early Muscle Farm really didn't have a huge social media presence because it was just kind of getting going, social media in general. So it's like,
they were born together,
Yeah, you kind of got me, but it was a little bit of a filter because it is, I looked at it. I have
It's corporate. It's more. There's more of a branding corporate look. Yeah, sure.
Well, it was like, I don't know. And plus, the guys I was working with, they had a different feel than I did. Where the guys that I'm working with now, we're all aligned. We get we're having fun, and we're not afraid to show it. And I'm just being me. I mean, see, a lot of people don't understand that Muscle Farm. We had this. I didn't live in Denver. I live in Ohio, man. Like, my partner lived in Denver. Like, there was a 35,000 square foot state of the art gym that looked like, with the office looked like a dream gym, but it wasn't my dream gym. Yeah. My dream gym is old school gym. That's my dream gym. It's the number 9 most hardcore, ranked gym in the country. Like, I never wanted any of that stuff. That's not me. Like, you see me right now, and that's what has kind of, I guess, kept everything in check for me because that's it. I got the infamous 4 a.m. crew, like 20 or 30 fucking savages in there every morning at 4 in the morning, trying to whoop my ass.
Right, so everyone's there to kill, man, like just to fucking train and get crazy.
Yeah, so there's, a lot of people sometimes can jump to conclusions on stuff, but I've been trying to do my best to just let people know, like, this is just real talk. I refuse not to have fun.
Gotcha.
I've been doing my own thing for a long time. I'm a little bit of a brat about it at this point because I have the ability to. I've made enough money that I don't have to run to do make certain decisions. Like I can
Right.
take my time and just
Right.
say, you know what, this is what I want for me and my family, and
Absolutely.
I have the skill set now and confidence to build it. And look, my community of supporters has been amazing in any business because look, I've poured my heart and all my knowledge out to everybody from all the stuff I did at bodybuilding.com to the stuff I'm doing now at CoryGFitness.com and MaxEffortMuscle.com, the new supplement brand. Like I'm pouring out everything I've learned all the time, man, to make people better.
And you can see it, man. And you just mentioned Max Effort Muscle. There's also
Yep.
Active 8 Media. Are you the co-founder of that as well?
Yeah, so Activate Media is myself and John Fosco also, and
Okay.
basically that's like what the asset, which is my podcast, Business of Biceps, is owned by Activate Media. There's a couple other projects that we have that are kind of under wraps right now. There were some pretty big players that Activate Media is getting involved in. And so
Okay.
basically that's like our umbrella type of thing for anything outside of Max Effort Muscle, whether it be, we had an audio book that was number one on iTunes in business called Entrepreneur. That's ran by Activate Media. So it's kind of like a holding thing for everything media outside of supplements for that John and I are a part of together.
Okay. And you've also authored the Mindset Manual. Is that right?
Yeah. So the Mindset Manual is a book that I released literally a month after, I left the MP to really just let people know about like my daily principles of success, like personal stories tying back to them to show that, look, this is not how I say I live or do. Here's an actual situation documented on how I implemented it or how I came about this conclusion, and just telling my story, man, like showing the trailer I grew up in, showing, talking about when my dad passed away, the daily perspective that it gave me, talking about my purpose and wanting to change generations of Gregory, like really just laying it out there. And I give it away to all my members for free. It's 175 pages. Every person that joins my website, which is $8.99 a month, which is, like one Chipotle burrito, they get the Mindset Manual for free. So thousands of people have downloaded. I sold thousands of copies too, but I give it away like crazy because, I feel like it can benefit a lot of people.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, they can really understand me. One cool thing about the Mindset Manual is, like, my son, my oldest kid is 12 years old, and he read it, and the amount of stories that I would never think to tell him, but because I, made it a point to sit down and write that book,
right.
I think that you'll even understand why I am the way I am,
Absolutely.
how we've achieved success to this level, and where it's all come from.
Yep.
And so that's probably one of the most rewarding things, because the generational change is the key, and I don't know that I could articulate that just through conversation,
Right.
But when you can write a whole book about it and your kid can read it, there's a lot of value there.
Dude, again, I think your fitness, the entrepreneurial stuff you've been through is such an excellent story, because there's so many people trying to get into the realm, and I think your story is like authentic, and in the way you're able to balance what you've gone through with your family life and moving forward to being more in tune with your frequency and surrounding yourself with people who are just on your vibe and having fun with this whole ride. Love the story, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I love the story. I've followed you for a long time, and I can feel, right? I don't know if this makes sense, but just through your social media that you're an authentic guy, and that's why I wanted to chop it up with you.
Well, and I think it's easy in this fitness day and age. Like, there's so much fake shit out there.
There
like,
is
look,
tons of fake shit, man.
Come on, man.
It's just permeating. It's like growing like a virus throughout the internet right now.
So
it's
bad.
Crazy.
It's so bad. So, I mean, I don't really touch on that much, but at the end of the day, like, I'm just showing this is the best. I'm trying to get the best version of Cory G out of me, why I'm able to compete, why I'm able to do, stuff like I'm working with Men's Health Online right now, Men's Health Magazine. I've got Train Magazine cover coming out actually next week. Like, my whole thing was, man, like, that Muscle Farmers is a stepping stone. Right. A lot of people would think, like,
it's
oh man, this is gonna fall off.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the end game.
No. Right.
And that's okay. And I know it wasn't supposed to be, Elliot, and I'll tell you why. Because if I would have went and made some buku amount of buyout or whatever, which that's not what happened, I would have been done probably, because I wouldn't have had like a driving force. Like, I love fitness. I'm always going to train at a high level. I think this just put a fire under me to show all the dudes I was at the boardroom tables with over those years.
That's right.
That just cast the, oh, that's just the dude with muscles.
Mm-hmm.
He just sits around and tweets a lot, right? That's the shit I used to get all the time.
Yep.
But, I was rehabbing accounts from $5 million to $25 million. My relationship with Arnold Schwarzenegger is unbelievable. Like, I had a huge part in getting that deal done. Like, there's things that I do that aren't on a balance sheet that other people, honestly, they just can't do. And that's what I offer to any business. I'm an intangible, not to mention a practitioner at the highest level. And so, and I'm in tune with the customer because I am the customer.
You are
like,
the customer.
I always,
you live it.
I do. And I always joke about it, like, because I like rap music. So I say, I'm Paul Wall. I'm like the people's champ. Like, I'm in the gym with them. I'm not the guy that has 20-inch biceps.
Right.
I'm not the guy that squats 900 pounds.
Right.
I'm literally an above-average athlete to a little bit of a degree who works his ass off and has been relentless enough to get the result, the ultimate result that I wanted, which was, create a seven-figure or multiple seven-figure businesses in fitness to hopefully set my family up one day, but just impact just a ton of people, man. And it's wild.
It is
how much my content, books, and just things like this have impacted people, and it's a real blessing, man. And that's, I believe, when I started developing people or caring, like that being my main focus, it's programming and personal development, helping, that everything I ever wanted started coming true. It wasn't about chasing a dollar.
Right. You're impacting people with truth and discipline and focus and family values, and that's way more important than any number that's in the Citibank or Chase account. Way more. That comes and goes.
No,
dude.
it is.
What you're doing is you're saving lives, dude. When it boils down to it, not to sound like cliche or over the top, but you're changing and saving lives.
I believe that if people dial into what some might think crazy, and it could be your own version of what I do, like, the daily strategy of the morning, training, developing yourself. Like, I just get so much done productive by 7 a.m. Like, I'm just hard to beat, man, but I've just done it for so long. And I tell people, like, I'm not that special. I just don't fucking miss.
Well, you said the word.
I just don't miss.
You use one of my words, which I use whether I'm playing sports or video games against my kids, or I'm coaching, or I'm in the gym by myself, or training people. The word is relentless, and that'll carry you very far in this world, just being relentless, man.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been the key to my success, because it's not because I'm the dude that's the strongest, the leanest, got the best abs, smartest, best looking, whatever. It's not because of any of those things. I've got the best version of what Cory has to offer to the fitness world because of my discipline, because of my, what I want for myself. But there's much better. I have a kid in my gym right now. He's 18, 80, ripped, can eat whatever he wants. Yeah. He's strong. He aspires to be a fitness guy one day. And I sat him down. I said, dude, you got it all.
Yep.
Like, you've got it all. And you're getting direction from me at 18, which I couldn't imagine. Like, the resources you have, the resource right in front of your face. Like, I view myself as one of the top guys in the industry. Like, I'm right here. You can ask me any question you want.
That's right.
You're training in my crew. But I said, guys like you are the guys I beat all the time.
Right.
And he kind of looked at me.
Yep.
I said, because you got it all, but you won't put the work in like I will. And so I'm going to beat you every time. But I'm going to tell you straight up, if you'll put the work in, then no one can fuck with you. Correct. And that was a lesson I told that kid, whether he wanted it or not. I just felt the need to tell it, because he just reminded me of guys that look at a guy like me and, man, I'm better than that dude, but why is he getting it? Well, there's that intangible, and I wanted to teach him, and he received it well. He's like, I get it, G. I was like, dude, I wish I had 50% of the caliber of tools that you got, and I don't. Right. But I went and got it over the last 20 years to where, and got the skills of being on camera and the training skills and learning from all these great people. And so, look, that just goes to show that you don't have to be the genetic freak or
That's right.
the best athlete in your school. Right now, I was the sixth man on my basketball team. I mean, I didn't get recruited to play nothing.
Right.
I mean, it just is what it is.
Right. Dude,
So,
Cory, I really appreciate your time. Before we get out of here, can you give everybody your, which they probably know already, but your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, Snapchat, websites, just every handle possible so they
yeah.
can follow you.
Yeah, so I make it easy, man. Everything's at Cory G Fitness with no E. So just CORYG Fitness, plus the website too, CoryGFitness.com. And, give us a shot at maxeffortmuscle.com. Like I said, it delivers straight to your door in a burlap sack, unlike anything else in the industry. It's very unique. Spend a lot of time on the products. And I got to tell you, like, the mixability and taste of every one of my SKUs, I just don't let them out the door unless I believe they're great. So I took my time. The manufacturing and the science team at the manufacturer, like everything's just on all cylinders, man. So I'm real proud of it, and you guys should check it out. And thank you for having me on the podcast, Elliot. I really appreciate it.
Cory, we appreciate you just being on this Health Haven podcast. Nothing but respect.
All right, brother.